Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a talk on the future of UCAS assessments. So I'm Jeff Ruddle. I'm UCAS's Strategic Development Director. What I'm going to do for the next sort of 10-15 minutes or so is just very quickly sort of take you through some of the things that UCAS is looking at about the future of the assessments that we do of our customers and the laboratories that we accredit in there. Before I pick up on that, I just want to for anyone who's here, who perhaps hasn't dealt with UCAS before, or is sort of starting to look into it, just a little bit about who UCAS is and who we are. So UCAS is the UK's national accreditation body. We've been around in our current format for about 25 years, but actually, as an accreditation body in the UK, we've been around since 1966 in various different forms and merged together out of different organisations over time before we came to be UCAS in 1995. And we work under a memorandum of understanding with government, so we're appointed into our position by government, so we have that basis as the UK's national accreditation body, and what we do is we assess the competence, the impartiality, the independence of the customers. On the main part, laboratories within there, we look at the competence that they are to perform the tests and calibrations that they perform in there, but we also accredit other organisations such as inspection bodies and certification bodies, and a wide range of other areas as well in there. So, for anyone who's not familiar with it, accreditation, this is kind of the way it works in here in terms of the UK, but UCAS, through the accreditation that we perform using international standards, such as ISO 17025 and ISO 15189, that many of you in the laboratory profession will hopefully be familiar with, to look at what's termed conformity assessment, what the laboratories do, make sure that's being done competently, independently and with impartiality, so that there's confidence then provided through to the customers that are relying upon those services that are coming from those laboratories within there. And we ourselves, to make sure that people can have confidence in what we do, we are peer evaluated currently by our European peers, who say that we are competent to do what we do as an accreditation body within there. So there's all those sort of checks and balances in that system there, so that people can ultimately have confidence in the laboratory testing and things that's taking place. So that's a little bit of a background. If you want to know a little bit more about us and come to talk to us about being accredited, we're on stand H2, so please come and see myself and my colleagues there if you want to know a little bit more. But on to what I want to talk about now. So first of all, let's look at background. That traditional view of assessment that's there. It's an auditor with a clipboard, maybe with a checklist of things to work through, making sure that people are following certain procedures and certain ways of doing things. It's an on-site physical assessment with someone turning up to check through things in there. Now, let's put it this way, it's been a tried and tested way. A lot of accreditation bodies, a lot of certification bodies have worked in that way for a number of years, and it works, and it has been quite successful in there. And actually, when you look at the strength of the UCAS brand, how it's recognised worldwide for the technical rigour that it brings in, for the mark of quality that it is, for the organisations that have gained it, it does serve a purpose. So that traditional approach does have some benefits. But when we start to look at things that are happening now and will be happening in the future, with things such as the fourth industrial revolution coming along, with the greater availability and use of data, with the Internet of Things and things like artificial intelligence coming in, this is already affecting the way that our customers are performing their services. And it's also, therefore, affecting the way that UCAS needs to look at how we assess those organisations. And that is going to change the way that UCAS is going to be conducting assessments into the future. So at the moment, one of the things that I'm responsible for in my role is looking at how laboratory assessments of organisations and laboratories will change into the future and what we should be doing to make sure that we can make best use of the technology that's coming through, that we can make sure that we're still providing fit-for-purpose assessments with the way that laboratories are operating now and will be operating from 5 or 10 years from now. So what are some of the near future holds? Some of the things that, if you're currently accredited by UCAS, you can maybe expect to see coming through within the next 12 to 24 months. Well, one of the main things that now the large availability of data and the ability to analyse those large volumes of data within there enables UCAS to do with our customers is start to make more risk analysis of our customers within there. So start looking at, before we even turn up on site, start to evaluate where the risks are within that organisation and how that organisation's risk profile compares to other organisations in the same sector as it. So not only can we focus our assessment when we're with a customer on the areas of their business that are perhaps generating more risk for them, so we make sure we're providing the most value in there and the most confidence to their customers. But we can also start looking at where our customers, perhaps because of the way they operate, have a lower risk profile than some of the other organisations in that sector. We can focus our resources on those customers that present more of a risk compared to those that do not within there. So that allows UCAS's resources, and as we know, sometimes trying to find the people with the right expertise and abilities to come out and assess your organisations and know that they have the right competence and ability to do things are getting harder to find and harder to utilise. So those scarce resources that we have, let's make sure we're using them in the right way by focusing them on a risk basis. So it might change some of the frequency that we're looking at assessments on, but it might also change the approach that we do. There's lots of technology available now and things coming through that will allow us to do more remote assessing. So we're already making use of things such as web meetings. That's been something that's been there for a long time, but as the technology is improving, it's becoming more and more viable. We use it quite a lot with our customers outside of the UK, where we need to assess their staff and their abilities that they're doing work without needing to send our staff to those locations in there. But we're now starting to look at stuff such as Smart Glass, sort of evolution from Google Glass that came out many years ago and is being used a lot by some of our customers as well to look at situations where particularly you're putting someone into a more health and safety risk environment, that if we can remove the need for one of our assessors to be going to places such as oil rigs or trackside on a railway or construction sites on a road repairs on a motorway or something, that removing risk from there, but also making it easier. Often to get into these locations now, there's heavy health and safety inductions that are required or certifications that are required to get personnel into those places. So we can make it easier by using something like Smart Glass to get our assessors into there, by the customer wearing those and us being able to view it remotely and communicate with them. That might change the way we do some assessing there. But also, as things become more niche, as we look into areas, we're having to bring in sometimes experts for maybe 2 or 3 hours worth of work at a particular customer's site. So if we can start to use this kind of technology to augment the assessment team that we have there, bringing in high-end expertise remotely so that they can assess it together as a partnership in there, meaning we don't need to bring people long distances to carry out a few hours worth of work. That will improve the efficiency of what we do and add the value of what we do to there. And as some of our customers now are starting to embrace more systems that are cloud-based and have external access to them, some of them are providing access to UCAS in there. So we can, in preparation for our assessments or continually throughout the year, be looking at how their systems are performing, how their management systems are working, how the quality control of their methods are working, without needing to come onto site. That can be done remotely by accessing the systems and things that they have in place. So some of these things are happening now, it's small amounts, and what I'm trying to look at is how we can make more use of this, how it can become more standard practice within the way that UCAS operates. So that's the sort of near future in there, that risk-based analysis, and then there's these remote assessing tools. The things that may come through a bit more on the horizon, what's there in the future, what else could we be looking at to do? At the moment, assessment for most organisations tends to be an annual event. The team turn up, they're there for 1, 2, 3, 4 days, depending upon the size of your organisation. They go away, you don't see them again for another year unless you want something extra added, or perhaps your assessment didn't go that well, maybe you have to come back for some additional time. But things such as Internet of Things, the data that's coming through, these systems I talked about here, allows us potentially to do more continuous assessment and be looking at the performance of our organisations, not just on a snapshot once a year, but continually throughout the year. And perhaps then focusing our assessments when they need to come in, when things don't appear to be performing as we'd expect them to be. So that on-site assessment doesn't become such a sort of once a year big issue. There is more of a continual approach to monitoring the organisations in there. As we've seen as well, things that are coming along, the Internet of Things, that providing data and things being connected up to the internet on there, that's coming into the way laboratories are working, and we're seeing laboratory equipment being connected up to the internet as well. And we've seen advances here now where you can use augmented reality to start getting data and reports out of that stuff by looking at it through your smartphone or from smart glasses and things on those lines. Is that a potential future of assessment? When our assessors are going around laboratories, they can start looking at the equipment that's being used in there, and they will be able to see data about how that equipment is performing or that method is performing without the need to leaf through spreadsheets or files of data within there, because it can be provided to them from the fact that this is connected up in there. Artificial intelligence, already in use in some laboratories. It's been used quite a lot in the healthcare area to help with the screening of information that's coming through on there. We need to make sure that we're ready to assess that artificial intelligence when it's a machine making decisions or interpreting data rather than a human being, which we're used to. But also, the ability for artificial intelligence to be performing part of our assessment in there. Part of our assessors' roles is to read documentation, to analyse data and to make decisions about it. Why can't artificial intelligence be used to help screen some of that within there? These are all questions and things that we are considering at the moment and looking to use them in there. But those are on the horizon. Those are not things that are going to be coming in the next 12 to 24 months, but they're things that we're looking at and considering at the moment and may well be there into the future. But before I go on to take any questions from people, I think it's worth saying that there is a need for balance. All these new tools that are coming through, all this access to data, you can kind of look at it and go, oh, there's no longer a need for people to turn up on site. You can do all of that assessment remotely. You never need to come along. You can look at the data as it comes out on a continuous stream, and you don't actually physically need to come to site. If you just talk to someone, you can just dial them up on Microsoft Teams or on FaceTime and have that conversation from there. But I think we should remember that there is value to that on-site assessment that it's there. But firstly, we know that a lot of our customers heavily value having a technical expert into their organisation on a periodic occasion to look at what they're doing and provide them confidence in their fitness for purpose. And the conversations that happen between our customers and those technical experts add extra value beyond just looking at whether someone is in conformance with a standard on there. But also, when you're just interacting with someone over a web interface, over a video conference, you don't see everything else that's going on around. And when you assess an organisation, something you said, from feeling the atmosphere that is there in the laboratory, from seeing how they operate, are there bits and scraps of paper pinned up on walls? Is it well maintained? How is the culture within that organisation? Things you don't always pick up from a video conference in there. So whilst there is definitely place for remote tools, and you will see more and more of them being coming to be used over time in the UCAS assessments, I don't think we will ever fully replace people coming on site on a periodic occasion, because it provides a lot of value to our customers and it adds an extra dimension to the assessments that we do as well. So hopefully I've given you there a little bit of a snapshot into what the future of UCAS assessments might look like. So on the near horizon, we're going to be seeing things such as risk assessing our customers, which may alter the approach that we use to assessments, with more remote assessing being used at organisations that have a lower risk profile, potentially lower frequency of assessment of some areas. And those that present a higher risk, maybe seeing a higher frequency or more focused assessments in certain areas, and more use of remote tools. Looking out into the future, things such as the Internet of Things and augmented reality and artificial intelligence have a role to play in improving and adding further value to the assessments that we perform. So thank you for your attention over the last 10 minutes or so. If there's any questions at all. No, looks like I'm getting off reasonably lightly. Like I said then, we're at Stand H2, so if you want to come and talk to us any more about the accreditation you maybe hold with us already, or if you're thinking about becoming accredited by UCAS, we're on Stand H2, which is near the entrance on the right-hand side, so please feel free to come and see us and talk to us more. Thank you very much.